again, Lacey Jones, speech language pathologist here, and I would like to speak to you about the strategy of pairing. So when I refer to pairing, I'm not talking about when we take two items and we match them together and say, make a pair of socks. What we're pairing here is we're pairing an item that is very motivating for a child with an item that we want them to be interested in. And that item might not be an object. It might be a person, it might be yourself, it might be a location in your home, it might be a particular activity. Some students, optimally, we want to pick a play activity that they're interested in and pair it with the activity or item that we want to generate more interest in. In some cases, depending on the developmental level of the child, that item might be a food item. So we might refer to edibles. In that case, you would want to use an item, preferably healthier food items, and I don't like to use edibles as much, if at all, but if I do, I like to make it functional, so I would do it during a designated snack time or at meal time, because we don't want too much dependence on candy and sweets and things of that nature. So you choose something healthier, some pretzels, some crackers, some cut up fruit, things that you control small pieces and give them one at a time as they perform whatever action or activity that you're looking to do with the child. One of the most common questions that we get is how to get a child more interested in reading books. That a child might not have the attention span to sit and listen to a story, or just might not be interested in the activity of books. They might prefer to play with blocks or dinosaurs or trucks. They find those activities very engaging and pleasurable. But obviously, to build literacy skills, we want to build their interest in books. So how we're going to do that with pairing is we are going to pick a book. So for example, if we have a child that's interested in dinosaurs, they may have some favorite dinosaur toys that they like to play with. You can pick a book that also has dinosaurs in it. This is one of my favorite series, like the How Do Dinosaurs books. And what we're going to do is, as we read the book with the child, we are going to use the toy to draw their interest in and get them interested in the book. Now, when you're pairing, something to keep in mind is that you want the child to really remain engaged and active and interested in what you're doing. So you're going to want to be very silly, very animated, get them to maintain their engagement with you. So you don't want a lot of delays between your interactions. You want to keep it going, and it doesn't have to make sense always. Like, what you can do is just silly, fun play just to get them interested in being in the presence of a book, not even necessarily listening to the story that's going on, just to have fun playing with the book. So for example, with this one, you might have the child come over and sit with you, and I'll do a demonstration later on where you have the book open and the dinosaur comes along and he hides behind the book, and then he kind of peeks out, and you turn it into a fun play and engaging activity with the book. As it progresses, you might match the dinosaur with the dinosaur that's in here. You have a triceratops. You have a triceratops in here. Like, oh, show me the triceratops. Like how he makes friends, or how he plays with the other triceratops, or maybe they'll butt heads. It's basically whatever comes to mind in the moment that you're being very creative and fun is the optimal aspect. When you're pairing, you don't want to give a lot of directions. You just want it to be fun and motivating. And if you tell them, don't do that, or no, then they're not going to be interested, because they're thinking that it's work. Then you want it to be fun, you want it to be play. So we avoid statements with the words don't, do not, no. We always want the answer to be yes. So instead of, oh, don't rip the book, you don't want to say that. Be like, oh, let's be gentle with the book, or let's see how the dinosaur is gentle with the book. See, nice dinosaur. Things of that nature. And also to keep in mind while we're doing the pairing is the type of language and the way you're talking. So we talked about being silly, being animated. We talked about not using negative words like no and don't. What we do want to use is a lot of praise, just lots of good jobs and tell them specifically what they're doing a good job with. So if they're playing with a dinosaur and they're like, oh, good job of making friends with the dinosaur, or a good job of stomping around, or good job rolling the truck, you want to narrate what they're doing in the moment. So they get a lot of language modeling, and some of that language modeling might come from reading the story if they're interested in hearing the actual words, but don't feel obligated to stick to the dialogue in the book. If the child is more interested in the play and talking about the pictures on the screen, feel free to make up your own story as you go along. Talk about what the child's doing. So what we call, so we do parallel play where we're doing the same thing that they're doing. We have parallel talk where we are talking out what the child is doing. So if they're taking the dinosaur and they're making him climb up the book, you're going to narrate and say, oh, I like how the dinosaur's climbing up, or the dinosaur goes down, whatever the case may be. Try to avoid using questions because children can perceive questions as work and putting demands on them. So we stick to those narrative type language that we use. So we just talk about what the child's doing, talk about what you're doing, but try to avoid actually presenting questions to them that puts a work requirement on them. But in the end, pairing can be very quick. Some children might pair quickly, where one time you bring out a dinosaur in a book and now they're interested in that book because you paired it with a dinosaur, and they might want to play with that dinosaur every time you pull that particular book out. Sometimes it takes a long time though. It might be repetitive sessions, like every day. It might take weeks or more. It really varies from child to child. So the key is just to be patient and be persistent, and above all, make it fun, make it animated, make it silly, because if you're having fun, then they're going to have fun. Feel free to lose yourself in the play, and don't worry about if you're saying the right things. As long as you're modeling language for them and you're having fun with them and engaging, you're not only pairing that activity with literacy in the book, but you're pairing their interest in you, so that as you do things, they're going to be more interested in what you do because they see you as someone who is fun and engaging. And if some people say, well, how do I get my child interested in reading? The best thing you can do is model reading for them. It doesn't matter what you read. If you don't like reading novels, that's okay. Read magazines, read newspapers. And you know what? If you don't like reading, pretend. You could get a book out and flip through the pages, and maybe if it has pictures in it, your child's going to be interested in what you're doing because they already find you to be an engaging person that they like to be with, and they're going to be very interested in what you're doing. So they might come. I know mine climbs on my shoulder and always wants to see what I'm looking at. So just keep up the good effort, and I will have an example coming up. Okay, so I have my son Zane here, and we're going to demonstrate some of the pairing strategies that I just talked about. Zane has brought some of his favorite toys down for his bedtime story. So we have a dinosaur?
Yeah.
That's a dinosaur?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, and I see a big truck. You see the big truck?
Yeah.
Oh, who's got the teddy bear? I got the teddy bear. Is it my teddy bear?
No, Wawa.
Oh, that's your teddy bear?
No, Wawa. No, Wawa.
Oh, Rava's teddy bear? Oh my goodness. Here, stay right here. Would you like to read a book about a bear?
No.
Where's the book about the bear? I have the book about the bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that the bear? So we have brown bear. What do you say? Should we let's open the book. Let's open it. Where's the bear? Where is he? There he is! Oh no, is that bear gonna eat you up? Yum, 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 yum. Let's see. Are the bears gonna be friends? Yeah, let's give the bear a hug. Should we give the bear a hug? Big hug. Oh, nice bear. Well, yeah, we have. Oh, there's a bear. Oh, he's gonna get a kiss. So sweet. Can I give you a kiss? Ready?
No.
Oh, I gotta give the bear a kiss or a hug. Which? Oh,
Hug.
oh, big hug for the bear. There he is.
Me.
Your turn. Let's see, does the bear in the story, what does the bear say? Brown bear, what do you see? I see a red bird looking at me. What is that? It's a red bird. You see the red bird? Is he going to eat you up? Yum, 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 yum. Oh my goodness, that bird going to eat you up. There's the yellow duck. Quack, 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 quack.
Eat.
Oh, who's going to turn the page? I wonder who's going to turn the page for me. Is Zane going to turn the page for me? Uh-oh. You turned the page for me. Good. Oh, it's a neigh. Is that a horse? Neigh. What the horsey says? Where's that horse? There he is. I see a green frog looking at me. Oh no. Uh-oh. What book is next? Should we do a truck book next? Are you ready to read a bedtime truck book? Let's take the truck for a drive. Is everyone ready? Go. Whee! Oh my goodness. Here we go. Little Blue Truck and his good friend Toad are going to a party just down the road. Beep, 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 says Little Blue. It's Halloween.
Car.
You too.
No. Car.
That is a car. I see wheels.
Big car.
That's a car too. You have a car and there's a car. They're both
Me.
They're both trucks.
Mommy.
Your car?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that your car? There's a truck. That truck has wheels.
Truck.
Oh, should the truck turn the page? Who's gonna? There he goes. Who's that in a tutu striking a pose? Up on the tiniest tips of her toes. Under the mask, who do you see? Quack, says the duck. It's me.
Eat.
Who's gonna eat you? Is that duck gonna eat you? Quack, 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 quack. So as you can see, we're just having a lot of fun with the book. In this case, he wasn't necessarily sitting on my lap and listening to the whole story. We were playing with the book. The book was going to eat him up. Eat. So he was using the word eat. He talked about his car. So he said, oh, is that my car? So again, I'm modeling that language back to him. I'm repeating things that he's saying, and then I'm building upon it. So I'm saying, oh, yes, that is your car. And then here is a wheel, and naming the other pictures in the books. There's trees and the cat. And then we had the truck turn the page. So again, lots of fun. He gets very excited, and then he's very interested in the book. So that when we do sit down to read, he already has a love of this book because he's associated with this fun playtime that we've had. And when we're pairing, we don't always necessarily have to be pairing an activity with a book. We might be pairing a person with a book. So in this case, we have Zane's sister Ayla here, and one of our favorite books that Zane likes Ayla to participate in is Everything is Mama. And you will see how we generate fun by using people. So in the story, it says, everything is Mama, according to you. But there are other fun words you'll want to know too.
Sun. Mama. Sun.
That is the sun. Waffle.
Mama.
Is Ayla hiding behind the book? She's hiding behind the book. What's this one? What's this?
Hot. Hot. Mama. Mama.
So he's very excited right now. He's normally not screaming this much, but he knows that something's out of the ordinary, because we have our usual spot that we do bedtime stories, which is usually up in his bed, and he's up past his bedtime, so he's a little wound up this evening. But you can get the general idea of creating fun, creating a play type of environment, and matching it with books to build those early literacy skills. Thank you. I hope that you found some of this information useful and will be able to use it going forward. You have a great evening.